Good morning, VC. How is everybody doing? My name is Rod. I'm your happy hippie, and I'm here to do a contest entry for Chris Propfe's contest 413. Love the guy's channel. He's a wonderful addition to the VC. Great guitar player and singer, and wonderful taste in music. And it's his 413 contest, 413. Real quick, in the background on this early Monday morning, I am listening to Muddy Waters, the legendary Muddy. Chris, like I said, hit 413. Congratulations, Chris, man. You're like burning up. He wants us to do our 4 favorite albums. 1 album we bought on a whim, and 3 what we consider to be essential albums. Now, I couldn't narrow it down to 4 albums that were my very favorite, and I wanted to jump on this contest quickly because I didn't want to overthink it. I didn't want to watch other people's videos and be influenced. I wanted to, like, fresh in my head. He asked the questions, and I'm sitting down and I'm going to knock it out real quick. These are definitely in my top 10, but not necessarily 1 through 4. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, and the albums I'm showing as my favorite top 4 albums. These are longevity in my collection. I've been a fan of this album for a long time. A long time. I'm not going to say junior high school. The Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. There's not a bad song on this album. It opens up with Thunder Road, and it closes with Jungle Land. Jungle Land is great late at night. It's a long song. When I worked overnights in radio, that was one of my go-tos for like at 1 o'clock in the morning. Just a great song. Thunder Road's wonderful. Born to Run, of course, is on here, and that is arguably probably his biggest song ever that people know him by, either Born to Run or Born in the USA. Phenomenal East Coast rock and roll. Just a wonderful album. And to me, this would be the #1 Bruce Springsteen album to own. And like I said, my sister had it when I was a little kid, and that's how I kind of got introduced to it. When she wasn't home, I used to go in there and listen to her music and look for weed. No, I'm teasing. Anyway, Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run, definitely in my top 10, and I'm showing it my top 4 because of longevity. Willie Nelson, this album, always on my mind. I've loved this album since it came out. It's got, of course, Always on My Mind on it. A lot of cover songs. Willie Nelson's kind of like the Grateful Dead. He loves playing cover songs. Whiter Shade of Pale, Let It Be Me, of course, the Everly Brothers made famous. The Last Thing I Needed, The First Thing This Morning is a great song. And I actually got to meet the guy who wrote that song, Gary P. Nunn, and we kind of developed a friendship. But I listened to this album like 10 years before that. This is the first country album I ever owned. I ever went out and bought with my own money. Singer-songwriter, Texas musician, Willie Nelson, an amazing act. I've been lucky to have seen him several times. Most of them were in Lukenbach, Texas, at his 4th of July concerts. Fantastic album. A lot of heartbreak in here. The Last Thing I Needed, The First Thing This Morning. He talks about he spills all the coffee. He opens the front door on his knee. The last thing I needed, the first thing this morning. Willie Nelson. Definitely, this album is in my top 10, and I'm showing it in my top 4. Rolling Stones, Goat's Head Soup. Now, I could have easily picked Let It Bleed or Sticky Fingers, but this album I remember buying because the hype sticker said contains the hit single Angie, and my little junior high school girlfriend at the time was Angie. Her name was Angie. I knew no other songs on here. In fact, no other songs are listed. And it's a great album. It has Dancing with Mr. D, which is one of my favorite songs. Kind of an eerie, kind of, has like a New Orleans kind of dark feel to it. It has Heartbreaker. Just some wonderful, wonderful songs. In fact, side 1 is probably my favorite side of any Rolling Stone album. Came with the goat's head insert. Rolling Stones, Goat's Head Soup. Favorite of mine since the 8th grade. So that is that one. And this one has been a favorite of mine since the 80s. And it's the Grateful Dead, In the Dark. And the reason I'm picking this one from the Grateful Dead, it's one that came out during my time. It wasn't like Working Man's Dead that I was 2, or American Beauty or something, which are great albums and I love them and they're essential to the Grateful Dead. This album came out right in the prime of my life. Young man out there wild, running around the streets of DC acting crazy. And it's a fantastic rock and roll album. It's not like Working Man's Dead, where it had the country edge to it. This is a good time, just rock and roll album. Throwing Stones, Tons of Steel. Just an incredibly cool album. The Grateful Dead. Love this album. Okay. The next one was show an album we bought on a whim. One album we bought on a whim. There's several albums I've bought on whims. Some I may have heard the name, some I never even heard the name. The album cover looked cool, whatever. This is one that came out, I think, in late 2018. I just started watching videos in the VC, and Frank at Channel 3, among several other people, had mentioned Ace Frehley. And I bought it on a whim. I went to Amazon, I guess, and clicked the button, and I ordered Ace Frehley. It's not an incredibly great album. It's just rock and roll. Maybe hokey at times. Kiss never was like really famous for very inspiring lyrics or whatever. But this is a fun album. And it's one I bought on a whim, and it's one of the first albums I bought in this incarnation of my record collecting. I've said before I've had 2 different collections come and go, and it's a cool album. I bought it on a whim, bought it because I heard so many people in the VC talk about it. It's a little early for licorice Twizzlers, but if you want one, help yourself, guys. I always got those nearby. The next question was essential albums. And this is really all a matter of opinion. But I'm going to go 4 genres. Excuse me. Is it 4? Yeah, 3 genres. 4, 1, 3. So 3 different genres, and pick any genre you want and an essential album from those. For heavy metal, the godfathers of it all, Black Sabbath, by Black Sabbath, featuring the song Black Sabbath. This is an iconic album. And if you're building a Black Sabbath collection or a heavy metal or hard rock, this is the album I feel to start with. And this is just an honorable mention because he showed his favorite punk album. This is hardcore. This is DC hardcore, Minor Threat. If you're into hardcore, you want to explore the DC hardcore scene or any hardcore, straight edge, whatever you call it, Minor Threat is the band to start with, definitely. Okay, that was an honorable mention. For female singer-songwriter, songwriter in general, Miss Carole King. And this reads like a greatest hit album by her. I feel the earth move under my feet. So far away, it's too late. You've got a friend. Will you still love me tomorrow? Incredible female vocalist, incredible singer-songwriter. If you're kind of into that singer-songwriter, or you're just into the female vocalist, female artist, this is an essential album to own. It really is. Hey, nothing needs to be said about it. He's a guitar hero. He's a guitar god. Jimi Hendrix. Have to have this album in your record collection. Whether you're just into rock and roll, whatever, man. Jimi Hendrix. There is no record collection complete without Jimi Hendrix in it, in my opinion. And this is all a matter of opinion. Chris, man, congratulations on 4-1-3. See if I'm coordinated enough to hold those fingers up. Great asset to the vinyl community, man. I really enjoy your channel. So jump on board this, guys. Like I said, I wanted to knock it out quick, so I wasn't influenced. I didn't have really time to think. Wanted them straight from the heart. Peace. God bless everybody.